Good morning, students. Welcome to Sai CA Coaching Center, and this is CA MS Swaminathan with you. Students, in furtherance to what we have learned till now, let us move on with the next part of the syllabus in today's session. We move to the next very important concept called supply chain management. Now, again, look at the term, the phrase supply chain. We are an entrepreneur into the business of producing units, any goods to be delivered to the customer or consumer. Consumer is the end point. Customer is one who could purchase it on behalf of another person. So on behalf of another person will be the final consumer. So technically there is a difference between the term customer and consumer. Now, from the entrepreneur's perspective or the entity perspective, I have to source my raw material from somewhere. So I start right from my suppliers and I will have to reach my customer. So all that happens in this chain is what is referred to as supply chain management. And when we talk about this, the first thing hopefully that should have struck your mind is the value chain analysis becomes very important, which we have already learned. Now, in this supply chain management, all that we are trying to see is there must be no loopholes or lacunae such that the product that is getting manufactured either could result in a delay in the manufacturing process or probably in the production process or probably in the delivery process to the customer anywhere, or quality could get impaired. We don't want to hear anything like this when we deliver products to our customers. This is what we try to ensure that through the supply chain management, that the customer is provided with the right product at the right time, at the right quantity, at the right price. This is the fundamental goal of supply chain management. Now, there are different functions involved in supply chain management, as would be evident from your page 28, which has some bullet points. The transformation of product from node to node or junction to junction includes activities such as production planning, purchasing, materials management, which is your inventory, holding, logistics, etc., distribution, which is also outbound logistics, customer service. After the sales, you must have customer servicing required and forecasting into the future. Now, there are different components involved in the supply chain management. Now, as we start developing or maybe moving on a little more into this aspect, let us probably start analyzing another angle of this supply chain management. I just want to give you an example to try and drive this point clearly into your minds that supply chain management involves ensuring that there is no gap in between which will affect the delivery of the product on a timely basis and of the right quality to the customer or the consumer. Now, of the subject, let us just try to take an example to understand. For example, let me assume that one of us is supposed to travel from Chennai to United States of America, maybe let's say tomorrow. And we are flight tickets booked from Chennai first to Dubai by, let's assume, Air India, from Dubai to London by maybe Emirates, London to New York, for example, by Air France, or maybe British Airways, let's say British Airways from London to New York, and from New York to Florida by Delta Airlines. So there are 4 different airlines involved in transporting us from here to United States. Now, please do not worry about the expenditure part. Let's assume that Shruti funds it for us. Okay. The point that I want to drive into your mind is, it is very, if I have a business meeting to attend in Florida at 10 a.m. day after tomorrow, it is critical that the entire journey, which involves 4 stops, or rather 3 stops, one at Dubai, second at London, and the third at New York. All the 3 must happen on a timely basis, meaning the flight from Chennai to Dubai must take off appropriately and land me in Dubai at the right time. Why? If there is going to be a delay, there is a chance I will miss the connecting flight from Dubai to London. So if we have to take a connecting flight in each airport and assume each of the flight we take through the route reaches the next destination late, meaning my flight to Dubai reaches late, therefore I miss my connecting flight Emirates from Dubai to London, I will take the later flight. That flight reaches London late. I missed my flight from through British Airways to New York. I have to take the next flight, and once I reach New York again, I arrive late due to some technical snag or whatever be it in British Airways. I will miss my connecting flight to Florida, and I have to take another flight, which is Delta Airlines, through Florida. Will this not result actually in a substantial delay? Could also result in me not being able to attend my business meet, which could have serious repercussions, adverse repercussions in my business. Now, if you don't want this to happen, well, we can take a step back and relax as a passenger. Just imagine how much of scheduling, preparing, planning must be done by the different airlines to ensure that the passenger who is the customer remains highly satisfied, meaning that at no point in time must there be a delay which could affect their business relationships. Correct? This critical component is what supply chain management essentially looks at. And we look at this. Supply chain management involves two different ways of probably looking at it. In terms of the difference between the traditional supply chain management and the modern supply chain management, though you might not see the term modern supply chain management in the book as of now, but virtually you will see something similar to that. In the traditional supply chain management, what used to happen is, in the years, suppliers used to just keep dumping their stock into the markets, maybe to us, and hoping that we market it to the customers. So suppliers are basically keen to supply in anticipation of demand. It is not that the demand has already been created. They hope that the marketing department will be able to create the requisite demand and sell these products to the customers. So note one very important point. What happens here is suppliers supply items in the hope of anticipated or expected demand from consumers or customers. This is called as the push model of supply chain management. We are trying to push the product to the customer, just probably as the child who is dodging the mother from eating, and the mother tries to probably stuff things into the child's tummy, which everyone would have experienced in our childhood days. The pull model is the reverse case, which is a modern style of functioning, wherein the mother waits for the child to start crying and calling aloud, "Mama, I am extremely hungry." And then when the mother comes, without any hassles or issues, she just brings the plate full of food. The child tries to grab it and eat it by itself. Why does this happen? Because of the hunger bell ringing in its tummy. Both of them, of course, are very happy. You see the difference? When the actual demand comes from the child, from the consumer or the customer, then the mother supplies what is required. Now just imagine when the child is crying out of hunger and the mother comes and gives it a toy which it loves. Can the child be expected to eat the toy? This is why I am emphasizing supplying the right product in the right quantity. You can't expect a child to eat the extent to which a grown-up adult would eat. The right quantity at the right time. When you are hungry, at that point in time, it must be supplied, not when the hunger has subsided. Once it has subsided, if you come and offer someone, "Please have mango milkshake," I'm sure the person would be explaining to you that it is not possible to consume it at this point in time and at the right price. This is basically referred to the modern system of supply chain management as a pull model, which means suppliers, the mother no longer tries to prepare it in advance and supply it. Unlike the past, you ask for it, you demand for it, and then it will be supplied to you instantaneously. Now, please be very cautious. In the past, when you used to manufacture and keep it, and the customer comes and asks you for a product, you can immediately deliver it because the stock is readily available with you. But now, it's very nice to hear this philosophy. Only when the consumer calls for it will you supply, which means you will not be maintaining adequate inventory with you. Of course, you will be saving hugely on your inventory carrying cost. But then the flip side is maybe you are running out on stock out cost. Big time you will be incurring stock out cost probably. So you might have to manage that part of the expectation of the consumer. And this therefore logically leads us to the next chapter. You will see there are certain concepts like just in time, etc., whereby we try and ensure that the customer will still be supplied within a matter of 2 days or 3 days. For example, when you go to a restaurant, how happy would you be if you ask for idli? Immediately it is served, and you then check with them, they say this is yesterday's idli. Would you feel very happy? No. What happens? When would you be happy? Even if they were to come after 10 minutes and deliver a plate of idli to you, you're happy. Why? It's prepared now. You're willing to wait. This is what I meant by saying you must be able to manage the customer expectations and don't tell a plate of idli will be brought to you after 1 hour, which will cause frustration in the minds of the customer. So we've understood what is the push model and the pull model, and you have ample stuff available in your study material to read through. In the pull model, the key aspect is suppliers respond to the actual demand of consumers or customers. They don't supply in anticipation of demand. Okay. Now, hopefully it is clear till now. In supply chain management, there is another way of analyzing supply chain management, which is done in two ways. One is referred to as upstream supply chain management and downstream supply chain management. Now, what is this? It's a very simple concept. Let us assume that you are supplying, uh, you are in the activity of the automobile industry, and you are not the manufacturer of a car. You are manufacturing some components which will be supplied to a car manufacturer who will be supplying the product to the customer. Now, let us assume you are manufacturing the engine for the car. For you to be able to manufacture the engine required for a Maruti car, you in turn would require various components from some other suppliers, the raw materials. So therefore, you are acting more like an intermediate point of contact. Now, at this stage, what is the meaning of upstream supply chain management? There is your supplier who is a raw material supplier. You are here, the next point. Then comes your customer who is, let's say, Maruti, and then there is an end customer. Any movement which is from the consumer side towards the supplier side, moving back from the consumer to the supplier, is referred to as upstream supply chain management. And the reverse is what is downstream supply chain management. Meaning, if you move forward from the fundamental or the original raw material supplier towards the consumer, you are moving in the downstream supply chain management cycle. Now let's take your position. You are neither at the starting point nor at the end point. You are somewhere in between. So from your angle, if you move towards your raw material supplier, that is for you upstream supply chain management. And if you move from your side towards Maruti company or towards the consumer or towards the distributor to the end point, that is downstream supply chain management. And we know that the entire chain has to function appropriately for the value to be delivered to the consumer. Therefore, you would want to check and manage each individual component of the upstream supply chain management and the downstream supply chain management appropriately, right? There are various concepts involved over there in terms of customer relationship management, supplier relationship management, customer service management, etc. Meaning, relationship management is a very key term to be understood. For example, in banks, you would find that they would nominate a person as a relationship manager. when there are some customers who are high net worth individuals who give a lot of business to the organization wants to actually serve or service those customers royally, and therefore they want to make the customer's life very rosy, very comfortable. They want to make them feel like a king or a queen, and therefore what they say is, you don't have to bother and run around from pillar to post to get your job done. You just have to contact one person in our office who is dedicated to you as a relationship manager. That person will be there to take care of all of your needs, whether it is a housing loan, whether it is a personal loan, whether it is a credit card, whether it is going to be maybe any letter of credit, any letter of guarantee, any medium term loan, any overdraft, any cash credit, any deposits, any foreign currency requirements. All these things will be handled by that person. So you are very comfortable just talking with one person. Now, of course, we are not getting into relationship manager, but what I'm trying to say is that relationship must be developed, must be nurtured, and must be adequate steps must be taken to enrich that relationship so that the business thrives in the future through that particular customer. This relationship management must be looked at both from the customer perspective as well as from the supplier perspective, because it's very important for us to know from a supplier perspective, sourcing of the supplier. Where from can we source a supplier? Do we run from street to street to get our supplier? No. Who will supply to us? Should we run from street to street? Or from house to house? From factory to factory? Or probably we invite by way of an ad, by way of probably e-marketing or something, and suppliers will be, the intended suppliers would probably contact you by themselves, and then you can filter who is the one with whom you would want to have your supply relationship as a vendor. Because it's very important for you to know, if you choose a person as a supplier, that person must be credible, must have some credibility in the market of keeping up his word in terms of reliability, must be one who is able to deliver the product at the right time in the right quantity to you, correct, of the right quality. So there are several aspects involved in supplier relationship management. These things you can read and understand. So we have understood the push model, the pull model, the upstream and the downstream supply chain management flow, etc. Okay. Now, and please do not forget the fact that in today's world, information technology is used in a very big way. Therefore, even when you visit Amazon, Flipkart, Snapdeal, etc., what do we find? We find e-catalogs are available. You can procure your item easily through the net itself by looking at various different supplier codes, and you choose which one is the most efficient for you, most cost effective for you, the same quality, and you pick up your product from that particular supplier and you get it delivered to you maybe within 1 or 2 days or 3 days. That's your e kind of sourcing, procurement, purchasing, and e-payment, which gets done through electronic payment, net banking, maybe phone pay, maybe Beam, etc., which ensures kind of zero defects. Now, while we have looked at these things, and downstream supply chain management, page 33 approximately, you find something, a concept called 6 markets model. When you want to maintain this relationship marketing, it is very important for you to ensure that, though it's fairly self-explanatory, these 6 different angles are appropriately addressed. One is the internal markets, which means within your organization, employees must be kept happy, and interdepartmental flow of information and all must be seamlessly functioning. Otherwise, you can't deliver value. The culture of the organization must be appropriate. It must be in line, aligned to your business strategy. Referral markets, how customers would be referring you to various other people. Similarly, influence markets, recruitment markets in terms of our entities contacts or relationship with recruitment agencies in the market. Why do we need it? If we need to deliver the right quality and keep the customer satisfaction at a high level, it can be done only if we have the right set of talent and people, skill set with us, for which we need the recruitment agencies' help, because they are the ones who will be feeding you with appropriate skill set related personnel. Suppliers market, which we've already analyzed, customers market to try and understand a few.